I woke up this morning with one of those bittersweet messages of one of my lenses selling. The reason is I've got some repetitive focal lengths here. So I wanted to give you a look at the three of them and show you some sample photos so that if you were deciding between these three zooms that you could have some better idea of which one is best for you. So on the table we have the 10-24 f4, 18-55, this kit lens, which pretty good for a kit lens, and the 18-135. Now these last two, the 18-55 and the 18-135, I just did a review looking at them faced up against each other. Spoiler alert, I like this guy, mostly because of the extra range here, so you get an extra 80 millimeters of range. It's weather sealed. Yes, it's a little bigger, but I don't feel like you lose so much on the 18 millimeter in. For me, this guy was better, which means this is the one I sold. So I just want to put them all together, throw in the 10-24, which I got now for some landscape, and see how that fares at 18 against these other two. Show you what 10 looks like, 10 millimeters versus the 18 millimeters, and just kind of put them up against one another. If you want to look at that review of these two, you can find that here. But just to give you some quick specs, this is f4, so the aperture is constant at 4 throughout the zoom range. When I zoom in and out, it's actually it's an internal zoom. I turn the zoom ring, there's no movement in the lens, so it all happens internally. He is unfortunately not weather sealed. I know Andy Mumford did a pretty extensive review on this, and he said he took it out in many conditions and weather sealing was never really a problem for him. So that's good to know. This weighs 410 grams. It's a nice weight, as opposed to the 18-55 weighs 310 grams, and he has a normal twist zoom like this. He is 2.8 at the 18 end and f4 at 55. So even at the highest minimum aperture, we could say, it's equal to this one. So you actually get a little more subject isolation with this, but if you're shooting landscapes with this, you're normally going to use your aperture a little higher anyway. So that's that. The 18-135 is f3.5 to 5.6. So 3.5 on the 18 millimeter end, and when you zoom all the way into 135, you're gonna get f5.6 as your minimum aperture. That said, at 55, you have a minimum aperture of 4.7. That's in contrast to the 55 here, where you're gonna get 4. And he weighs 490 grams. That's just some rough specs on them, and now I want to show you some pictures. So I'm gonna go outside, take some pictures. You stay tuned. So these are all from a tripod. I've taken them with the three different lenses. Let's go into compare mode, and up first we'll have at 18 millimeters, we're looking at the 10-24 and also at the 18-55. So if we just click kind of somewhere in the middle here, there you go. So we can see the tree branches look a little better to me here than here, and it looks a little more fine here than here. So actually, surprisingly, I would say that the 18-55 is a little better in this case. Also, this tree looks better. This could be just a misfire on this 10-24, but we'll give the edge to the 18-55 on this first one. Before I bag on the 10-24 anymore, I did find one more photo. This one's at f8, and you can see that it is a bit better than its f4 version. It's even better than the 18-55. However, it's at f8 now, so you'll have to keep that in mind. You can see that it did render even this rope a bit better. It's at 8-to-1 zoom, so don't think that it's so bad. So you can see background looks nicer, the rope looks nicer, and things like that. And again, that's in comparison to his f4 version, where you can see things really got kind of sloppy, especially up on this tree. So it makes me think that there must have been something, maybe there was some tripod shake, or who knows, it was a little windy there as well. So just wanted to point that out. Now, if I click over, and now I compare, we have the 18-55 on the left, and the 18-135 on the right. So same comparison. Yeah, they look pretty similar, but I would actually then give the edge to the 18-135 here. It looks a little better in these branches in the back, though the bike wheel center looks better to me here on the 18-55. If we go over to the tree, also looks better here. So it looks like this 18-55 is a pretty good copy. That said, up here, these trees are way more in focus than here. This could also just be something to do with the focal point, though I did have it on a tripod with single point focus. So perhaps it could be the case that the 18-55 got more of the foreground, whereas the 18-135 got more of the background. But that's the 18mm comparison. We can also compare at 24mm. I have on the left side the 10-24 and on the right side the 18-55. So if we dive on in there, this is 2:1 zoom, by the way. So again, it looks to me as if the 18-55 is better. Surprisingly, but it seems to be the case. What if we look up here on this rope? We can zoom in even more. Yeah, looks better to me here, huh? Very, very surprising that the 10-24 is not pulling his weight. The tree, much better here on the right. That said, in the back, you get some more mush here than you do here. But in general, I think the 18-55 again outperformed the 10-24. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 18-135. So 18-55 on the left, 18-135 on the right. Yeah, again, clearly the 18-55 is the better lens here. Looking through, let's head over back to that tree. Also better here on the 18-55. Again, in the background, rendered much better on the 18-135. So it does make me wonder where the focus point actually was, as you see this. But if it was somewhere in the center, I mean, if we look at the front of this tree, you definitely see, so there must be something different with the focus here, which is kind of unfortunate, but such is life. Let's go to the 55. So here we are at 55mm, says 49, but clearly pretty similar here. So the 10-24 obviously doesn't work at this length, so this is just between the 18-55 and the 18-135. So if we zoom right in on this one, clearly better at 55 on the 18-135. Get a little more detail in this rope, along the tire, the rim, a little more detail here versus here. So 55, the 18-135 is the winner. We look over at the tree though, then I would say that the 18-55 is better, especially up here. So it seems that the 18-55 likes this tree a lot. Thing is, with the 18-135, you also have a different focal length at 135, and you can see what this looks like. This is very, very sharp here. Probably the best photo out of the bunch. So his telephoto option is quite good. And then on the other side, you also have a 10mm setting, which of course the 10-24 does. If we jump in there, yeah, really not so impressed with this 10-24, but it could be my copy. Anyhow, that's the 10-24. Now, I also took some close-up shots. So the 10-24 would be up first. If we compare that against the 18-55, there we go. So 10-24 on the left, 18-55 on the right. We zoom in there. So here at f8, you can see that the 10-24 finally got a little sharper. And yeah, I would say it's considerably sharper than the 18-55. So there you have it. 18-135 now. You got a little closer, but you can kind of see if you look at this here versus this here. Still give the edge to the 10-24, but both are quite sharp. The 10-24 does render better overall across the field of depth. So that's that. It was a quick field test for you. 10 to 24 did not perform so well in the tripod setting, but did do pretty well in this rose photograph. Alright, so there you have it. There's the three-way comparison between the Fuji 10 to 24, the 18 to 55, and the 18 to 135. I hope you found that this video was useful for you in getting some comparison between these three great lenses. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. And hey, don't forget to subscribe.